Have you ever experienced that pervasive, almost immobilizing sensation where your body feels so overwhelmingly heavy that the mere thought of lifting your head from the pillow seems like scaling a colossal mountain? This is not the familiar, fleeting tiredness that fades after a good night's rest or the enjoyable self-indulgent laziness of a rainy Saturday morning. It is an entirely different, deeper kind of gravity. It is a profound, unexplained inertia, a pervasive weight that feels less like physical fatigue and more like an invisible block of concrete has been poured over your chest, silently and efficiently draining every last drop of your vital energy. The insistent, demanding sound of the alarm clock goes off once, then a second time, then a third, and even though you instinctively reach out to silence it, and your conscious mind fully acknowledges the pressing obligations, the waiting people, and the list of critical responsibilities, something fundamental within you simply refuses to comply. Your eyes may be open, your logical mind perfectly aware of what needs to be done, yet your physical form remains stubbornly resistant, refusing to obey the simplest command. This is the precise moment when the internal and relentless self-criticism begins, a corrosive monologue that whispers, or sometimes shouts, "Get up, you are weak, you are lazy. What exactly is fundamentally wrong with you? Everyone else seems capable of managing, but you consistently fail at this most basic task." This powerful mix of internal accusation and corrosive guilt begins to eat away at you, merging with a deep, unsettling sense of inexplicable failure that you simply cannot rationalize. After all, what could be simpler than the act of getting out of bed, a routine that most of humanity performs effortlessly every single day? Why has this most basic, simple action escalated into a monumental, almost impossible feat that consumes all your energy? I want to propose a radical shift in perspective to you now. What if this crushing resistance is not a true manifestation of laziness, is not a failure of discipline or a defect in your character? What if, on the contrary, this seemingly debilitating state is, in its deepest spiritual sense, a desperate, powerful, and utterly necessary cry for help emanating from your own soul? The pervasive and heavy feeling you are grappling with has a clear and defined name within spiritual and psychological frameworks. It possesses a traceable cause rooted in your deepest history, and, most importantly of all, there exists a clear, structured, and compassionate path that leads directly out of this darkness and back towards the light. I want to assure you with complete certainty that the true solution to this seemingly intractable problem is not found in fighting against this deep, internal state of retreat and inertia, but rather in fundamentally understanding its profound spiritual and psychological meaning, learning to deeply respect its sudden and powerful demand for pause, and then consciously utilizing this period of forced internal recollection as a sacred and unparalleled opportunity for a complete and thorough reconnection with your ultimate, most essential self. The three-dimensional alert, the profound, inexplicable heaviness that settles over us, making those early mornings a grueling experience, where even the simple act of drawing breath feels like a heavy labor, is far more complex than any simple physical or psychological fatigue. It is a holistic, multi-layered experience that cuts across and deeply affects the three distinct yet interwoven dimensions of our existence: the body, the mind, and the spirit. We are, in effect, witnessing a perfect internal storm, a synchronized event where all three critical components of our being are simultaneously emitting coordinated distress signals that demand immediate and undivided attention. It is absolutely essential to draw a clear and crucial distinction between the ordinary common-sense fatigue that is a natural result of a busy week, a late night, or intense physical labor, a fatigue that is fully and satisfactorily resolved by a single restorative night of sleep or a relaxing weekend spent resting, and this deeper, pervasive call from the soul that we are specifically addressing here. This spiritual call to halt is fundamentally different because it is not alleviated by mere physical rest. Quite the opposite is often true. When we finally manage to slow down, to stop the endless external motion, this underlying spiritual discomfort can intensify because we have finally created the necessary stillness and silence required for the neglected soul to speak its long-suppressed truth, and its voice is often demanding and uncompromising. From the perspective of the Spiritist doctrine, as codified and structured by Allan Kardec, This phenomenon of profound inertia is often a clear indication of a necessary vibrational readjustment or a period of critical energetic realignment. Kardec's teachings illuminate that we are constantly influenced by an environment densely populated with spirits, and that our own moral and emotional state dictates our personal vibrational frequency. When our spiritual energy pattern, or perispirit, decreases its frequency due to prolonged emotional attrition, an intense, unceasing external struggle, or simply because we have reached a critical point in our evolutionary path that requires a dramatic internal overhaul, this perceived inertia and heaviness manifests as the physical and psychic consequence of this necessary but challenging descent. It is not an anomaly, nor is it a symptom of personal weakness. On the contrary, it is a universally experienced, natural, and profound part of the complex process of spiritual development that every serious individual must undergo on their arduous journey toward perfection and ultimate self-knowledge. The psychic retreat, introversion, of libido. The intellectual and psychological genius Carl Jung dedicated much of his extensive work to understanding the hidden mechanics of the soul, referring to the mental aspect of this retreat as the introversion of the libido, a pivotal and necessary movement where our internal psychic energy turns decisively inward. It is crucial to clarify that Jung's use of the term libido does not carry its common sexual connotation. Instead, it describes the totality of our generalized, vital psychic force, the inherent energy that propels our life's purpose and our daily actions. During these profound and compelling periods of soul retreat, this very energy, which is habitually directed outwards, fueling our careers, maintaining our social relationships, and driving our tireless external activities, is forcefully and strategically withdrawn, redirected entirely to the internal world. This deliberate rerouting is fascinating to observe in its manifestations. The most common signs are the sudden appearance of extremely vivid, dramatically meaningful, and highly insistent dreams, as the subconscious mind utilizes this pause to process and communicate critical insights that the conscious mind consistently ignores. Long-forgotten memories, unresolved emotional conflicts, and profound inner questions bubble to the surface, demanding immediate attention. Simultaneously, the individual experiences an overwhelming, almost suffocating need for profound silence, total solitude, and a defined sense of safe space, which Jung termed the temenos, or the sacred, protected enclosure. This temenos is precisely the internal and external sanctuary required for the deepest parts of the self to confront, process, and ultimately integrate the fragmented and shadowed aspects of the personality. Your powerful mental apparatus, your entire psychic structure, is not collapsing or failing. It is simply and urgently demanding a mandatory, extended downtime for extensive internal maintenance. Think of it less as a system failure and more as a sophisticated, essential server, undergoing a total system reboot and deep defragmentation of the hard drive, a necessary process that ensures it will ultimately function with vastly superior clarity, efficiency, and renewed purpose when it eventually comes back online. Physical manifestations and adrenal exhaustion. When the spirit initiates this deep and necessary internal withdrawal, the body, which is the spirit's loyal and physical instrument, begins to emit clear, undeniable, and often severe warning signals that its resources are critically depleted. Beyond the crushing, heavy, and persistent fatigue that seems to defy any amount of rest, the individual often begins to experience noticeable and troubling alterations in their most basic biological rhythms. Sleep patterns can swing wildly and unreliably between states of near narcoleptic exhaustion, sleeping for 12 to 14 hours, yet waking up feeling utterly unrefreshed, and periods of debilitating insomnia where the mind races relentlessly, trapped in a cycle of worry and introspection. Appetite also undergoes radical transformation. Some people experience a near-total loss of hunger, while others turn to excessive eating, seeking a superficial, immediate, and comforting sedation from overwhelming emotional pain. The genuine sensation that your physical body is heavier, more difficult to move, and less cooperative is not a trick of the imagination. In-depth studies of psychoneuroimmunology confirm that in states of prolonged unmanaged stress, chronic anxiety, or deep emotional distress, the body floods itself with stress hormones, most notably cortisol, in a severely dysregulated, persistent pattern. This constant hormonal barrage directly and significantly impacts the efficiency of cellular energy production. The vital adrenal glands, which function as the body's essential emergency system and are responsible for delivering the quick, necessary bursts of energy needed for survival, become profoundly exhausted after being pushed beyond their limits for extended periods without the necessary time for deep replenishment. Allan Kardec, in the book on mediums and the Spirits book, clearly explained the critical relationship between the physical body, the instrument of the soul, and the perispirit, the energetic link. The inertia is the body's ultimate physical manifestation of the perispirit's exhausted state, the organism simply and non-negotiably taking the necessary decision to halt all external work, creating the very heaviness that successfully anchors the person in the bed, thereby protecting the core self from complete and total collapse, the spiritual meaning of the dark night. In the rich, diverse tapestry of global spiritual and mystical traditions, this profound and overwhelming lethargy, this deep, unexplained absence of drive, is consistently interpreted not as a sign of moral failure or spiritual defeat, but rather as a sacred and necessary precursor to monumental growth. Within the comprehensive framework of the Spiritist doctrine, as tirelessly codified by Allan Kardec, through the rigorous observation of mediumistic communications and further amplified in the profound revelations contained within the works of mediums like Chico Xavier, this experience is frequently identified as an unavoidable process of vibrational readjustment. It represents a critical period during which the soul's energy pattern, the perispirit, must recalibrate and heal itself after prolonged exposure to the intense demands and moral struggles of the material world. This vibrational descent can be triggered by external spiritual influences, which the doctrine accurately terms obsession, the often subtle, sometimes intense imposition of denser, lower-frequency energies from disembodied spirits. Or it can be simply the soul's own inherent mechanism for demanding a critical period of profound spiritual self-processing. Across countless traditions, including the Christian mystics, this dark, desolate, and seemingly endless period is widely recognized as the dark night of the soul, a transformative phase that, while agonizingly painful and intensely lonely, is fundamentally preparing the deepest, most fertile ground of the soul for a complete and far-reaching spiritual awakening. Kardec's teachings consistently emphasize that the true purpose of our existence is relentless moral and intellectual perfection. Therefore, the dark night serves as a crucial, necessary interval designed specifically to cleanse the self of old, lower vibrational patterns and to consolidate the inner strength required before the soul can successfully execute its next major, definitive evolutionary leap. The core truth to grasp here is that this profound state of retreat and inertia is not a random occurrence, nor is it a punishment sent from any divine authority. It is unequivocally a natural, profound, and universally experienced process of spiritual development that, when approached with deep understanding, proper context, and complete respect, possesses the immense and restorative power to transform a moment of seeming defeat into the single most significant spiritual pivot point of your entire incarnation. Signs of healthy internal gestation. It is absolutely paramount that we develop the spiritual and psychological discernment required to correctly identify whether the heavy feeling currently consuming us is the signature of a healthy, productive, and necessary spiritual withdrawal, or if it is the dangerous, insidious manifestation of a debilitating clinical stagnation that urgently demands professional intervention. The following indicators are practical signs that confirm you are genuinely engaged in a fruitful process of internal gestation despite the pervasive discomfort. The first and most compelling sign is that your dream life has become markedly more intense, significant, and memorable. During a necessary natural retreat, the deeper unconscious mind capitalizes on the conscious mind's reduced activity, utilizing the dreamscape as a powerful, direct conduit to process deep contents, convey critical symbolic messages, and offer profound insights that are otherwise inaccessible during the frantic waking state. You find yourself recalling dreams with greater frequency, and they are saturated with complex, important information. The second sign is the sudden emergence of unexpected moments of profound mental clarity or insights. Even while trapped in the fog of physical and emotional exhaustion, powerful flashes of understanding, like intense bursts of light cutting through a thick, obscuring fog, will momentarily surface, illuminating deep truths about your past decisions, current stagnation, or the critical direction you must take in the future. The third sign is a persistent, powerful, and undeniable internal sensation that something is being prepared or gestated within your deepest self. You may not be able to articulate the exact nature of this impending change, but the feeling that a major, significant, and transformative birth is occurring behind the scenes of your soul is palpable and insistent. The fourth indicator is a noticeably heightened and often overwhelming sensitivity. Films, music, poetry, or even simple acts of kindness that once seemed ordinary now possess the power to move you to tears, evoking a deep, resonant emotional response. This heightened permeability is a consequence of the temporary dissolving of the strict barriers between your conscious and unconscious minds, making you more vulnerable, but also far more receptive to subtle spiritual and energetic impressions. Finally, the fifth sign is a brief but undeniable and significant feeling of upliftment and relief following sincere acts of spiritual connection, such as a heartfelt prayer, the reading of an uplifting moral text, or a few minutes of silent, focused meditation. This temporary peace acts as an essential confirmation that the root cause of your suffering is ultimately spiritual in nature, and that the chosen path of healing and reconnection is fundamentally the correct one. Urgent red flags: when to seek immediate support. While the natural withdrawal of the soul is a beneficial and often necessary precursor to growth, we must remain vigilant for specific, clear-cut danger signs that indicate the process has unfortunately devolved into a dangerous, life-threatening stagnation that requires immediate, non-negotiable professional assistance. It is essential to remember that spiritual wisdom and medical science are not opposing forces, but complementary elements designed to ensure the total and complete health of the individual. The first and most critical red flag is the presence of recurrent, pervasive thoughts of self-harm or deep, morbid contemplation of death. If you find yourself consistently thinking that the world, or your life, would be significantly improved by your absence, or if you are actively considering or planning methods of self-injury, this is a severe and critical emergency that must be addressed immediately by a professional counselor, doctor, or emergency service. Do not wait for this feeling to pass. The second clear sign is severe, extreme, and prolonged social isolation. A healthy retreat requires solitude, but dangerous stagnation manifests as an inability to answer any messages, return calls, or maintain any form of human contact for weeks or months on end, representing a complete withdrawal from the bonds of society. The third warning involves significant, persistent, and dramatic alterations in both sleep and appetite that endure for a period longer than 2 weeks. This includes either sleeping 16 hours a day, or being perpetually unable to sleep, or the total loss of appetite, alternating with periods of compulsive, comfort-seeking overeating. The fourth sign is a troubling feeling of profound and pervasive disconnection from reality, known clinically as depersonalization or derealization. This manifests as feeling as though you are perpetually watching your own life from a distance, or experiencing moments where the external world appears fundamentally distorted, unreal, or dreamlike. Finally, the fifth and most insidious danger sign is the escalating continuous use of alcohol, recreational drugs, or non-prescribed medications with the singular intentional goal of numbing, escaping, or chemically anesthetizing your feelings. This pattern is particularly perilous as it creates a destructive, self-perpetuating cycle of dependence and further emotional and spiritual deterioration, making it crucial to seek addiction support immediately. Allan Kardec taught in the Gospel according to Spiritism that true faith must always be guided by reason and rigorous observation. Therefore, seeking the rational and proven support of modern medicine and psychology is not a failure of faith, but a deeply responsible and completely rational spiritual act of self-preservation and self-love. The 7-Day Path to Reconnection, Part 1. The path out of the soul's darkness requires conscious, deliberate, and gentle action, one small step taken each day. This 7-day framework is designed to be gradual, deeply respectful of your current state of low energy, and highly effective in reigniting the small flickering lights that will guide you back to your true self. Day 1 is purely dedicated to recognition and initial connection. Begin your day by offering a sincere, unscripted prayer. It does not need to follow any elaborate ritual or contain complex theological language. The only requirement is that it must come directly from the deepest, most honest place in your heart, simply acknowledging your exhaustion without any trace of self-judgment, followed by a quiet request for divine light and guidance. Next, engage in the practice of fluidified water. Following the Spiritist tradition, take a simple glass of filtered water, place it on your nightstand and quietly focus your mind upon it, asking your guardian angel or benign spiritual mentors to infuse or magnetize that water with powerful healing and restorative energy. Drink this water very slowly, mindfully feeling it nourish every cell in your exhausted body. Finally, no matter how immense the effort feels, command yourself to open just a sliver of the curtains or the window and allow a single ray of genuine sunlight to touch your skin and your face for a mere 2 minutes. Sunlight is not merely a physical light source. It is a profound, life-giving, high-vibrational nourishment for the perispirit itself. Day 2 focuses on spiritual edification and record-keeping. Today, dedicate a minimum of 15 focused minutes to the practice of the Gospel at home, Evangelio no Lar. Select a passage from the Gospel according to Spiritism by Allan Kardec, or any other truly uplifting, moral, and comforting text. Read the passage slowly, reflect deeply on its moral lesson, and follow it with a simple, personal prayer. The key here is not religious dogma, but consistent, gentle moral elevation. Following this, take a dedicated notebook and write just 3 honest lines in response to the single, pointed question, "What is the deepest, most critical thing my soul is demanding of me right now?" Do not permit your critical, logical mind to interfere. Let the response flow instantly and naturally from your hand. You will often discover that the wisdom contained within the hand and the pen knows and can articulate the truth that the fearful intellectual heart is still desperately trying to repress. The 7-Day Path to Reconnection, Part 2. Moving forward in this gentle journey of reconnection, Day 3 introduces the crucial element of controlled movement and vibrational elevation. The goal for today is to take the very first step, both literally and symbolically, by initiating a 10-minute, extremely light walk. If at all possible, choose a location where you can find some minimal exposure to nature, a small park, a quiet tree-lined street, or even a brief walk across your lawn. This is not about achieving any cardiovascular benefit. It is a sacred, symbolic act of telling your paralyzed body and spirit that it is now safe to slowly begin moving forward again. As you walk, intentionally listen to music that powerfully elevates your core vibration. Select a piece of classical music, a simple mantra, or any melodic composition that reliably and instantly connects you with feelings of peace, serenity, and lightness. The powerful synergistic combination of gentle, low-effort movement and elevated sonic vibration is designed to begin the slow, necessary process of unblocking the dense, stagnant, energetic accumulations that have contributed to your prolonged inertia. Day 4 centers entirely on the conscious receiving of external spiritual energy. If your local circumstances and access permit, make a sincere effort to visit a reputable spiritist center or spiritual sanctuary to receive a pass, passee. In Spiritism, the pass is fundamentally a dedicated, concentrated transference of revitalizing, magnetized fluidic energy from a qualified medium or spiritual worker to the recipient, and it can dramatically accelerate the process of energetic rebalancing. If a physical visit is entirely impossible, you can achieve a similar effect by simply sitting quietly and in deep silence for 15 minutes, intentionally visualizing yourself being powerfully enveloped and infused by a brilliant, warm, and highly restorative white light, mentally commanding that all lower, denser, or stagnant energies be dissolved and replaced with pure, revitalized light. Day 5 dedicates itself to the transformative power of selfless charity. This step is both crucial and profoundly powerful. Commit yourself to performing one simple, genuine act of altruistic charity. This could be as minor as sending a deeply supportive and sincere message of comfort to a person you know is struggling, making a small, symbolic donation to a worthy cause, or simply giving your full, undivided, and genuinely attentive listening presence to a person who desperately needs to vent their feelings. It will initially feel entirely contradictory. How can you possibly give away precious energy when you feel you have none for yourself? The answer lies in a profound spiritual law. Selfless charity functions as a completed circuit of divine energy. By the simple and pure act of giving, you immediately and simultaneously open yourself to receive a powerful, restorative influx of higher, reciprocal energy. The 7-Day Path to Reconnection, Part 3. As we approach the successful conclusion of this initial realignment week, Day 6 is strategically focused on the absolutely essential practice of sleep hygiene. The quality of your sleep is foundational, as restorative rest is a potent form of natural spiritual therapy. A critical period during which your benign spiritual mentors and the forces of nature are best able to work on your deep, energetic, and physical reorganization. Therefore, you must establish a simple, non-negotiable pre-sleep ritual. Critically, this means eliminating all screen time, phones, tablets, televisions, for at least 1 full hour before your intended bedtime, as the pervasive blue light severely disrupts the body's natural production of melatonin. Follow this with a warm, relaxing bath or shower to deliberately relax your tense physical body. Then practice a simple, calming, conscious breathing technique. Inhale deeply, counting slowly to 4, hold the breath gently for a count of 7, and exhale very slowly and completely, counting to 8. Repeat this controlled cycle 3 times. If available, place a few drops of calming lavender essential oil on your pillow. The resulting deep, truly restorative sleep is the body's single most effective mechanism for natural, spiritual, and physical healing. Finally, Day 7 is dedicated to conscious review and commitment to continuity. On the last day of this crucial framework, reserve 20 uninterrupted minutes for a final conscious review of the week. Write down a minimum of 3 things. First, one specific, genuine insight or deep realization you had during the week. Second, one small, concrete thing for which you feel sincerely grateful, no matter how insignificant it may seem. And third, one small, measurable step that you commit to taking during the upcoming week to continue this path of reconnection. It is imperative to understand that this 7-day routine is not the complete end of your journey, but rather the highly successful beginning of an entirely new, deeply respectful, and sustainable way of relating to your natural periodic cycles of profound energy depletion and necessary spiritual retreat, integrating science and spirituality for wholeness. It is absolutely paramount to grasp the essential principle that the path to a complete and total recovery requires a seamless and continuous integration of both disciplined spiritual practice and rigorous, evidence-based professional care. The greatest spiritual thinkers and teachers, including Allan Kardec himself, who was both a meticulous scientist and a profound spiritualist, consistently affirmed that authentic faith must always work in tandem with and never dismiss the rational necessity of temporary medication or compassionate psychological support. The profound experience of spiritual withdrawal and established clinical diagnoses such as severe clinical depression or crippling burnout are often nothing more than 2 different dialects, one spoken by the spiritual self and the other by the modern medical world, describing the same singular, complex, and underlying energetic and emotional phenomenon. The classic and instructive example of the executive Anna, who received a clinical diagnosis of severe burnout, while simultaneously being spiritually counseled that her symptoms were the result of a profound and necessary vibrational transformation, perfectly illustrates this crucial point. Both diagnoses were accurate, reflecting the truth on different planes of existence, and her complete recovery and subsequent transformation were only achieved by diligently following the prescribed medical treatment while committing to a parallel, deep spiritual journey of self-reconnection. To consciously seek professional support from a compassionate therapist, counselor, or psychiatrist is not in any sense a failure of your spiritual commitment or a defeat of your faith. On the contrary, it is recognized as a profound, responsible, and deeply spiritual act of radical self-care and self-respect, a clear acknowledgement that the divine spark within you resides in and relies upon a physical and mental apparatus that also requires structured, rational, and evidence-based care. As Kardec so clearly taught in his works, true reasoned faith is never blind. It is entirely compatible with and actively endorses the necessary use of all the rational tools that God and science have provided for the maintenance of our overall health and for the ultimate fulfillment of our evolutionary destiny in this earthly life. Stories of the dawn after the darkness. The profound transformative power of this integrated approach is vividly illuminated in the real-life accounts of individuals who courageously traversed the dark night of the soul and emerged completely transformed into a brighter, more purposeful dawn. Consider the compelling case of Renata, a highly articulate 38-year-old university professor who sought help after a year of what she accurately described as soul hibernation. Her descent began with an overwhelming, pervasive fatigue that no amount of sleep could mitigate, quickly progressing to a crippling inability to lecture. The essential words simply vanished. She was diagnosed with severe burnout and clinical depression, confessing, "I, who always had answers for everything in the world, suddenly couldn't even manage to decide what I wanted for dinner." While she accepted the necessary medical treatment, she intuitively sensed a deeper, more profound process occurring. Her turning point arrived when she discovered an online group dedicated to spiritist studies. Though not formally religious, she felt an intense, powerful attraction to the lessons, gradually beginning to frame her entire experience as a massive, necessary, and purifying transformation. She diligently maintained her medical treatment while simultaneously weaving in essential spiritual practices, daily sincere prayer, consistent uplifting reading, and small, constant acts of charity. Within 6 months, Renata did not merely return to her job. She returned as a fundamentally different person, completely shifting her life priorities. "Before, I lived automatically, just producing without truly feeling," she explained. "Today, every single lecture I give feels like a purposeful act of service to others. My depression was a brutal teacher, but it taught me a profound, necessary compassion for myself and for everyone else." These powerful stories consistently confirm that the period of deepest withdrawal, however agonizing and prolonged, can be meticulously reframed as the singular, most critical moment of one's entire life, an essential chrysalis where a fundamentally more conscious, far more compassionate, and unequivocally more luminous version of the self is tirelessly, purposefully, and safely being gestated and prepared for its inevitable and transformative unveiling. We now arrive at the conclusion of this deep, searching exploration, but my earnest hope is that this marks only the genuine beginning of a new, conscious, and deeply informed understanding of those intensely difficult and confusing moments when the physical body seems to stage a non-negotiable rebellion, when the simple comfort of the bed morphs into an almost inescapable, overwhelming refuge. Let us firmly hold on to the essential guiding truth that we have uncovered. This state of crushing inertia is not evidence of a profound personal flaw, nor is it merely laziness. It is, in its spiritual essence, a complex, multi-layered, and entirely necessary call from your very soul, demanding an immediate and complete pause for deep internal reorganization, total transformation, and essential evolutionary progression. The absolute key to successfully navigating this turbulent and challenging process lies in actively embracing the practice of simultaneous, comprehensive, and deeply respectful care for all three interconnected layers of your being: the robust physical form, the complex psychic landscape, and the eternal spiritual core. And perhaps the single most crucial discernment you must cultivate is the ability to clearly differentiate when your experience represents a natural, necessary, and purifying spiritual retreat, and when it is crossing the critical threshold into a dangerous state of debilitating stagnation that urgently requires external professional intervention. If I could distill our entire conversation down to one core, singular message to leave with you today, it would be this: listen to your soul. It does not speak in a booming voice from the heavens. Instead, it speaks to you with relentless subtlety, through the persistent aches and exhaustion of your body, through the potent symbols and messages embedded in your dreams, and through the meaningful, powerful synchronicities that unexpectedly present themselves on your daily path. The very moment you consciously choose to begin the difficult, transformative practice of truly listening to these subtle, insistent voices, you simultaneously initiate the process of actively finding and following the clear, illuminated path that leads inevitably back to the powerful, enduring light that has been quietly waiting within you all along. I invite you right now to commit to just one small action, drawing from the 7-day framework we have meticulously shared. It can be as simple as uttering that single, honest, heartfelt prayer, allowing the sun to touch your face for 2 deliberate minutes, or simply preparing and drinking the water that you have purposefully fluidified. This one small initial gesture is a powerful and sacred declaration to your soul. I hear you now. I'm here for you. I will listen. Your journey through the darkness is not a solo venture. Know that I am here with you, supporting you in spirit every step of the way, and I offer this final, comforting reminder deeply rooted in eternal spiritual law. The absolute darkest point of the night inevitably occurs just before the dawn. And even though it may feel impossibly distant right now, a time will undeniably come when you will look back upon this painful, confusing period of deep spiritual retreat and finally understand, with complete clarity, that it was the essential, sacred chrysalis where a fundamentally wiser, dramatically more conscious and significantly more luminous version of your true self was being perfectly prepared for its glorious, inevitable